Welcome, everyone, to this special City Council work session for November 18, 2024. Maria, would you call the roll?
Fritz,
Here.
Lowe,
Here.
McLaughlin,
Here.
Manetza.
Here. This evening, we have a presentation by the Airport Board on a matter of great importance to them. So I will turn the podium over to Ben. Please introduce yourself.
Yes. Good morning, good evening, I'm sorry. My name's Ben Enninga. I'm a member of the Airport Board and currently serve as the chairperson. Tonight, the Airport Board would like to present to you an opportunity on how we can alleviate some of our aircraft hangar storage issues and come out ahead later on down the road. Airport Board members Dale Hagenboo and Tricia Harrell spent many hours gathering information and assembling this PowerPoint presentation and would like to invite them to the podium to present it to you. Dale?
Hi, my name's Dale. Trish is my very handy, capable partner in this presentation, and I thank her for her help with it, but she's going to sit over there in case I mess up.
Oh, that won't happen.
So as Ben explained, we are here to propose to allow private hangars to be built at the hangar. And we are proud to be celebrating the 75th anniversary of the airport. I don't know if you all knew that or not, but it's interesting, to say the least, to look back through pictures and captions or descriptions of those earlier years to see from, from where we've come. If there's one thing that's safe to say, it is that a lot has changed in 75 years. Trends change, technologies change, and needs change. Today, the Airport Board would like to express a need, suggest a win-win solution, and ask the City Council to support our proposal to allow private parties to enter into land lease agreements with the city for the purpose of building hangars at the airport. There are two types of hangars, most common in general aviation. They're known as T hangars and box hangars. I got a picture of each type up there, just kind of representative. Those are actually rows of hangars at our own airport, and then that's a box hangar from somewhere else. T hangars consist of individual T-shaped units built in rows for efficient use of space. T hangars provide privacy and security for each tenant aircraft. Due to their typically smaller size, T hangars are better suited for smaller aircraft. Box hangars, on the other hand, are large rectangular structures that are designed to store and protect larger aircraft and or multiple aircraft at once. This is an example of a luxury box hangar where someone has added a lot of amenities that sometimes people with box hangars like to have. He happens to store 2 airplanes in this hangar, and it has a loft, has a shower, it has a kitchen, has a little living space with a big screen TV and a little balcony even. So I don't know if you can see those pictures from that far or not, but that's what that's about. Now, there's not enough hangars at Grand Haven Airport. The airport is home to 58 aircraft. There are 71 hangars, but only 53 can hold aircraft. 1 aircraft on the field is too large to fit into any hangar, so it must be tied down outside. All hangars capable of aircraft storage have been full since at least 2018. We have a consistent waiting list for about 40 people wanting to rent hangars. Some are on other airports' waiting lists. 6 of them on our list are desperate for a hangar. 12 do not even have an airplane yet. They're waiting for a hangar to be able to buy one. And in the last 6 years, we've been able to accommodate only 12 new tenants due to turnover. We have plans to add 5 or 6 new T hangars in the next year or two. Most of the funding for these new T hangars is coming from a special one-time federal grant through the bipartisan infrastructure law passed in 2021. These new T hangars will help, but they still won't address the need for hangars that can hold larger planes. This is where a box hangar or two could help make a big difference. For every aircraft that moves from an airport-owned T hangar to a private box hangar, we'll be able to move a pilot on the waiting list into the vacated airport's hangar. As you know, Grand Haven Memorial Airport is self-sufficient, self-sustaining in the sense that we operate in the black and do so without receiving any local millage. The airport is funded largely by hangar rents, fuel sales, and federal and Michigan State Department of Transportation funds. The Federal Aviation Administration expects airports to maintain control of airport grounds and emphasize, I want to emphasize this, they want us to ensure the highest and best use of the airport land is being made. For this reason, the FAA allows federally funded airport land to be leased to private individuals. Fortunately for our airport, I'm sorry. I need a new pair of glasses. Fortunately, our airport has land available for development. In fact, it's already provisioned in our latest airport layout plan, which was back in 2013. This is the airport layout plan, and it's not really easily, discerned because there's so much fine, it's such a big space and so much in it. But basically, what we've done is shadowed the locations that we've provisioned for the first 9 T hangars box hangars that might go in are the 4 big ones that are individual, and then the strip of 5 up there above it. So, and that's not even in stone. So this is just to show that we do have space available there on the airport and more. So we're going to talk about land leases and private capitalization. How can we get the hangars we need without incurring debt or asking the city for taxpayers? It's through land leases and private capitalization. The answer is to invite private investment from interested parties who are willing to build the hangars we cannot afford. They will do so because they want or need something that the airport doesn't currently offer. In exchange, they receive 30 years of paying for leasing the airport land only. At the end of the term, typically 30 years, ownership of the ownership of the hangar transfers to the airport. Consequently, this will increase revenue significantly from leasing not only the land, but the hangar itself as well. This is not a radical or risky idea. A large majority of airports in Michigan and a preponderance of airports in the nation offer land leases. In the immediate West Michigan area, all airports, Muskegon, Holland, and Zeeland, offer land leases. In recent years, several parties have inquired as to whether building and owning their own hangar was possible at Grand Haven Memorial Air Park. But to date, we have been unable to answer them in the affirmative. Oh, what happened? Something I did. Thank you. Land leases will, thank you. Land leases will not limit or prevent our airport, or the city of Grand Haven for that matter, from building our own hangars. What they will do is provide a way to meet the needs of pilots in the airport without burdening the city's budget or affecting taxpayers. Non-competition assurances can be incorporated into the land lease. For instance, aircraft not owned by the box hangar owner must utilize an airport-owned hangar if a vacancy is available and if the aircraft can fit. However, if someone has a plane too large or there is no adequate airport-owned hangar available, a box hangar owner would be free to sublet in his or her box hangar until such time as a suitable airport-owned hangar is available. This would protect the airport and ensure their T hangars would be filled first and always. For all practical financial purposes, the only way the airport can afford to build any type of hangar is for us to receive federal and Michigan Department of Transportation aero funds, which typically cover up to 90% of the cost. Could we use federal dollars to build a box hangar? Yes, but the return on investment would be more risky than building T hangars because T hangars are consistently in demand. Individuals who want to build a box hangar are generally looking for something bigger with more features and amenities than a normal hangar. It makes perfect sense then that if a private individual is willing to build and maintain a hangar at their own expense while the airport receives a reasonable rent fee for the land that it's on, it's a win-win situation for both parties. Analysis of these terms, of the terms of such a land lease is compared to building our own hangar without federal funds shows that the net revenue would be virtually identical. Field maintenance and airport operation costs are the same whether the airport owns the hangars or an individual does. The hangars will be required to meet all FAA and airport minimum standards requirements and applicable building codes, whether the airport builds the hangars or an individual does. And when the land lease reaches full term, typically 30 years, as I mentioned, the box hangar owner transfers to the airport or city without having to finance its construction. Therefore, whereupon, they may enjoy the full revenue from the city or airport can enjoy the full revenue from running the box hangar, not just the land in perpetuity. Just 35 miles northeast of here is the Paul C. Miller Sparta Airport. It's a small airport, comparable in some ways to Grand Haven Memorial Air Park. 12 years ago, Sparta had mostly T hangars and just 2 smaller sized box hangars. When a businessman named Gordon Gilchrist entered into a land lease agreement with the village-owned Sparta Airport to build a 62 by 102 foot box hangar. Later, Gordon built a second box hangar, the same size, right next to it. Then another pilot started building, then other pilots started building box hangars, and Gordon built a third. The bottom line is in just 12 years, Sparta has seen the addition of 12 privately owned box hangars. I asked both Gordon and Sparta Airport's manager, Mike Kiersiak, what are the positive things about the privately owned hangars. They cited a large increase in activity, as a lot of the pilots who invest in their own hangars tend to fly a lot. Many are using their planes for business. The airport also attracted 2 flight schools to the airport through the extra activity. And all that extra activity also brought expected increase in fuel sales. Also, the EAA chapter there has benefited by attracting the most active pilots in the region. We've lost a few from Grand Haven who now go to Sparta. I then asked them if there were any negatives, and they both said no, none. Just as land leases and private capitalization have benefited Sparta, it is likely they will benefit Grand Haven as well. Although we do not expect as rapid a growth in box hangars as Sparta experienced, but adhering to their proven model will no doubt result in the following benefits. Serve the needs of the aviation community and ensure the highest and best use of the airport and its land is being made, which is the charge of the FAA, who regulate and fund airports. It'll help solve the hangar shortage without having to borrow money or beg taxpayers. It will provide revenue. And as an example, a land lease for the currently proposed minimum size box hangar will generate just over $3,000 per year and goes up from there based on the size of the hangar. Now, that's for what we've defined as a minimum size at this point. We don't think it will be any less than that. If anything, it's more, and that $3,000 is just for the land lease, not the hangar rent that would be added on after 30 years. So, it would provide it would accommodate quality tenants that we previously had to turn away. It would generate additional fuel sales through increased activity and larger aircraft. Attract services providers such as sustained flight instruction, aircraft mechanic, or even aircraft aerospace manufacturers. Attract aircraft owners who will regularly utilize the airport, ensuring continued governmental grants and funding. And it'll attract more vacationers, golfers, charter fishers, beachgoers, shoppers, foodies, business people, for a vibrant, thriving Grand Haven. So the conclusion, most other airports allow land leases with great success, so should we. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale.
Any questions? I'm sorry.
Yes, we were going there next.
Yeah.
Questions from council?
The
Go ahead. Go ahead.
the $3,000 land lease, is that a market rate? Is that something that you have
That's-
taken a look at?
It is.
So,
It's what, actually Earl, the manager of the airport here, has done a lot of study for this. And that rate was based on, you could say 35 cents a square foot. However, other airports, we studied what other airports, other places are charging, and it's all over the
right,
spectrum. But the thing is, you have to look also at the details then, at what's covered in that, for that 35 cents, or whatever this happens to be. Because some of these airports charge maybe, let's say 30 cents or 35 cents, and then they double it. Because they have to add an apron, they have to add other space around it or whatever. And they might use a formula of simply just doubling the size of the hangar itself and saying that's your rate.
right.
They still call it 30 cents or 35 cents or whatever, but they're really paying 60 or 70 cents,
Yeah.
for what would be their hangar. So what we've done is looked at some examples of other airports, what they're charging. It also is based a little bit on what our own airport has charged in the past. Although we don't have box hangars, we do lease some land. And then the lease for that land is very small, very low, because it's only can be used as a parking lot.
Oh, I see.
So we're renting some parking lot space to Jost, and I think that goes for like 7 cents a square foot.
Yeah.
But if it's valuable land, it's going to be worth more, and it depends on several factors that determine that value.
So the term of 30 years is still all market, that's pretty much.
Yeah,
what
and
everybody does.
I thought I don't remember seeing it, but I think I meant it for it to be on there. It was at one point. I may have accidentally deleted it. It doesn't have to be a 30-year lease. It can be 3 10-year leases or whatever we determine would be best.
Yeah,
and
but
that
whoever builds is going to have to recoup his,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
The
not
30
gonna-
years is because of that. Yes.
you have 71 hangars, 53 you can use.
Yes.
The other 18, should they be demolished?
Well, we are using all but 5 of them. So that was at least 13, I think, that are being used as storage units. So we're getting some revenue for
Okay.
those. Now, we have to get special permission isn't the word I want, is it? We have to be allowed that, we have approval, yeah. We have to get a,
Store box as opposed to.
yeah,
But I believe, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, those ones are slated to be replaced.
some of
They
them.
are
The cost
Those
of
are-
tearing them down and
what we call
replacing
hangar
them,
OC.
the cost of tearing them down and replacing them with something that can hold an aircraft is very expensive. And currently that's a plan for the future, the near future, to tear those down and use that federal grant to turn them into aircraft storage instead of just regular lock and store.
Okay.
So that's what we're gonna use our funding on instead of these box hangers.
Trish, if you could make sure you're talking into a microphone, then they'll hear you on the radio.
Very well.
No, I've talked to some of you before about this. I think it's a great idea. I would really hope that it's something that we can move forward on. If we can do, I'll do it all legally, I think it would be great for the airport and great for the city.
If I can say, we're basing the land rental lease of around $3,000 to $3,500 based on about 35 cents a square foot per year. But we're also saying that we as a board are looking at nothing less than a 60 by 60 hangar, because that will have great value to the airport, to the city. After 30 years, it becomes the property of the city.
Right.
Good point.
Just a small T hangar, if somebody wants to come in, well, lease some land for just a small box hangar, that's not what we're looking for.
Okay,
It's gotta be a benefit to the airport.
okay. I think it's a great idea.
Karen?
You were mentioning that the grant money, the 5 to 6 new T hangars that will they be replacing some of those
They will
old
be
storage?
replacing- Can you pull up the overview of the AIP?
We're planning on.
Overview,
using-
when she gets back to the screen.
That way.
Yeah.
If you, looking at the photo, the left side is to the west, the right side is to the east. So the new box hangars we're looking at, potentially leasing land for, are on the east side of the most east hangar row that's there now. The hangars row that we're looking to replace with this new 6-unit T hangar is what we call C row. It is the second hangar row in from the west as you're driving down Comstock Street.
Okay.
And it is the one that's much lower, it has no asphalt in front of the hangars, it's just dirt and grass. And that hangar row is 10 units right now, it's being used just to store and lock, to get some revenue on. But
Great.
they're in such poor shape, we can't put aircraft in them.
Great, good. I agree with my Councilmember McLaughlin. I think this is a fabulous idea. I love that the board approached this. We've been talking for a few years about the fact that the city doesn't have money, but we do. You found a very creative way to tackle both the T hangars and the land lease. So I'm very supportive of this. Naturally, I'd like to see, as we go forward, Ashley, the city attorney, get involved in looking and doing some real comparison of land lease contracts with some of our neighboring airports. Just to make sure that we've got everything.
Research already, we've got
Yeah,
contracts of several airports, they do a lot.
that's great. It would all be great for the city attorney to take a look at, and then just to make sure that we're doing all we can to protect the city, but it's a terrific idea.
Mike?
Well, geez, guys, I tell you what, this is a long time coming. How many years have I been here? And I think when Dennis Scott was here, we were trying to get hangars here and trying to be creative in some ways to getting hangars.
Yeah.
I applaud you for coming up with an idea and having something built there and advancing our airport. It's quite an asset for us, and I've been a big supporter all the years I've been on here for it. And I think this is a good way for us to go, to move forward, and to, in the long term, if you figure out, we keep calling them the new hangars, they're 20-some years, almost 25 years old. So you figure how nice those are. We keep them up in shape. In 30 years, we're gonna have something there that's gonna belong to the city then, which kind of reverts to us then. Then we'll have another chance for income coming in to help that out even better yet. So I have to agree, this is a good start for us to move forward and take a look at it and go forward. And like Karen was saying here, we can have our lawyers look at it and see how it all comes up, and we'll get all the information, comparables. I want to say thank you for your hard work, and I applaud you for it. I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I've been kind of keeping an eye on this process as you've been working through it. Couple of comments I'd make. One is that in 2017, we had a windstorm that did some severe damage, and we, at that time, had some insurance money that would have paid for a portion of replacing hangars. And when we looked at the return on investment and the financial capacity of the city, we said, we can't afford to replace these because it would take 10, 15 years for the rent on them to pay for them. And so we didn't. So we left money on the table, just as a practical matter, because the rent never really pays for that investment. The $1 million you're talking about for the 6 T hangars, if there weren't federal money for that, we wouldn't be talking about it.
That's correct.
And I mean, it's just been prohibitively expensive. And that's why you have some hangars which are actually older than the airport. Some of these hangars
Some of
were
those hangars were used when the airport was developed back in the,
probably that SeaWorld that you're talking about.
that was one of them, C-row and A-row.
Yeah, those, I mean, that's,
A-rows, if you're entering into the entry drive into the airport, A-row is immediately on your right. And I believe it's the hangar row that's immediately on your left is the last hangar row that was ever built. Yeah, so it's the newest and the oldest, basically, right there on either
well,
side.
newest is relative here. They're incredibly old, so.
Yes, that's.
No, I think this is good. I think that the need has been demonstrated. In the past, the city attorney has opined, and we would have him revisit that the 10-year limitation on contracts within the charter doesn't necessarily apply to ground leases, that ground leases can be longer, whether it's a 10-year rotating lease or a 30-year lease. There has to be a way to assure the investor that he can use that space long enough to make it worth his while. We obviously would want the attorneys to weigh in on the text of a ground lease, taking models from other airports. It's good. It's a good start. It has to be make sure it fits our situation here. I think you alluded to room for 10 box hangars or something like that. I don't know what your ultimate capacity would be.
Those, we had 10 units just on the east side of the
Okay.
most easterly row of hangars right now.
So,
But you can also see some others, which would be immediately on your right-hand side as you're driving into the terminal building. Those other, they're not highlighted in blue,
Okay.
but those are other potential locations for box hangars.
so going forward, I think that we would be interested in knowing about these and about more capacity, and make sure that legally we're on solid ground. And that all the numbers make sense. So I think that's something we need to review a little bit more, but it's the right direction to go. It's the only direction to go to get hangars.
It is, yes.
And I think you guys are well aware of that. You've been grappling with this for years.
I think just to clarify for everybody's understanding, it sounds like there is a consensus for pursuing this in some form or fashion, given some contingencies. So I think we would look to draft ultimately a sample contract to have our city attorney review, and then come back to you with that vetted contract in the form of an RFP process that the airport would then look to release. So I think that would be, from what I'm hearing, the appropriate next step.
Yeah,
Right.
RFP for people to lease the land?
Yep, including a sample contract that's been vetted by the attorney.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we left here with the next steps.
Yep.
Thought about. So I think that's probably the next place to go with it, because you got a pretty good consensus up here that you're going the right direction. So thank you for your presentation and all this information, all the hard work.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, well, thank the two of you and the rest of you who came.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you. Ashley,
Ben.
I think it could also be a iterative process with the city attorney to make sure that you don't get too far down into structuring something if there's some things that he wants to make sure are written into it to, protect it, and then having him do a final review of that.
Absolutely.
Anyway, it's just a suggestion.
Okay, yeah, I think we want to make sure we got all our ducks in a row,
Yeah,
but it's the direction, it's the right idea.
yep.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. That concludes our special city council work session. And it is now time Just in time for regular councils. You guys timed it just perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Are you ready to roll into the regular session? All right. Welcome, everyone, to this regular city council meeting for November 18, 2024. Maria, would you call the roll?
Fritz,
Here.
Lowe,
Here.
McLaughlin,
Here.
Manetza.
Here. Our invocation this evening is by Pastor Emmett Brown of Trinity Church. Please rise and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful town that you've given us and for the provisions to. Lord, as we come before you today, we pray that you would clear our hearts and our minds of our own intentions, but help us to seek only what you would have for this town. Whatever is best for the town, that you would have us be in agreement and unity in passing what needs to be done. And the things that are not beneficial to the city as a whole, that we would cast them out, not give them any further consideration. Father, I pray in all things that we would be a unified body, that we would work together in remembering the purpose that you brought us all here for. In your name, Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, this evening we have a couple of new appointments. Marie, did you read those?
Yep. Item A, appoint Jerome Swiftney to the Lake Forest Cemetery Board with a term ending June 30, 2026. Item B, appoint Oliver Champagne as an alternate member to the Zoning Board of Appeals, term ending June 30, 2027.
Can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second the motion?
Motion by Fritz, second by Lowe. Any questions on either of these appointments? If not, would you please call the roll?
Fritz,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. And that brings us to the approval of the consent and regular agendas. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved?
And I'll second it.
Motion by Lowe, second by Fritz. Any questions or any changes that we need to make on either the consent or regular agendas? By anyone?
You're down to 3 items. It's not bad.
No, yeah, it won't be that way every time. So take it while it lasts. If there are no changes, would you please call the roll?
Lowe,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. All right, we are done with our work session and they've all left, so no more questions on that. That brings us to a presentation on the MSDDA, an update by Shandi Poppy. So Shandi, would you like to come introduce yourself and what you're talking about?
Hi, I'm the executive director for Grand Haven Main Street DDA. Oh, she's going to make me do it. Okay. Hi, thanks for having me. It's so good to see you guys again. It's I see you guys a lot in the summer and haven't really been out and about as much in fall, but we've been really busy here at Grand Haven Main Street. So just wanted to give you an update on what has happened in the last year. I've been here for about a year and 4 months now, and so we've done quite a bit and just wanted to fill you guys in on stuff. So just real quick, an annual report on the use of our PSD funds. We partner every year with Michigan Main Street to create an impact report, and these numbers are included in both our annual report that we reported in July, as well as that impact report, which will come out in January. We had an income of $462,000, and expenses of $184,027 for the year. So we've put a lot of that money into a cash reserve fund that the board can decide, and will hopefully decide that we can do something with that for projects or future opportunities with facade loans or grants for businesses, small grants, things like that. So, and then our PSD funds, this is just a reminder really that these dollars are designated for marketing and branding, enhancing public spaces, events, administrative fees, and a fund reserve in case we ever, are in a situation like a pandemic, like we were 4 years ago. And that's going to be set to renew before 2026. So we'll probably put a committee together next year so that we can come and talk to you about what we're going to renew it for and what the focus for those PSD dollars for next year. We released recently, on November 6th, we had a visit with National Main Street and Michigan Main Street for accreditation. Every year, we're a master level community for the Main Street Association or organization. So every 2 years, we have to go through an accreditation process. Lisa Krizov, the manager of Michigan Main Street, and Lisa Thompson, the senior program officer for Main Street America, came and visited and met with the board, met with me and Joyce Workman, our chair, and also met with Mayor Bob and Ashley Latch, city manager. And we got a chance to talk about what we're doing and where we can improve so that we can maintain our accreditation. Got a little bit of work to do and to challenge ourselves to get some things done and accomplished, but it seemed to go very, very well. One of the things that we get from Michigan Main Street, National Main Street, is a technical service grant every single year. This past year, we got it on branding, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but moving forward, we really wanted to get the service grant to redo our strategic priorities and our transformation strategy. And while they were here, they awarded us that grant. So they will be here in February or March to meet with us. It will actually be Lisa Thompson will be coming back to Michigan to go through a 3-day process of transformation strategy and looking at you know, our strategic priorities from a board's perspective. So I briefly mentioned the impact report that's going to be coming out. Our current priorities and strategies really are focused on these 3 main things. We've got a few other options on our priorities list that have been there for many years, but it's to position Grand Haven Main Street as the heart of the community and focus development within Grand Haven Main Street to enhance the variety of retail and dining options while creating opportunities for housing. Housing is going to be a big factor moving forward, both in the grant world and a lot of other things in the coming years. And then to enhance collaborations and awareness with our community partners. So a couple things that we've accomplished this year. This past year, we have a new branding. That was our technical service grant that was awarded by Michigan Main Street in 2024. At the same time, we worked on a new website that we launched in July. And I've also been working really hard on new communication tools for the board and for stakeholders. So we have a new board volunteer handbook, a new stakeholder newsletter. We did an annual report in July and a stakeholder welcome packet. And then I've been very active in social media presence. So we've gotten 2,400 new Facebook followers and about 850 new Instagram followers just in the last year. So that's been really incredible. We're also working on, and I didn't put this on the list, but we're working on board education and development for new members that join our board. So if you're interested in joining a board, if anybody out there is listening, we welcome you to join. It's really fun. Something new from National Main Street is visitor data. Main Street America has partnered with Placer AI, which is a tracking service for cell phone data. So we can see how many people are coming in to visit our neighborhoods, our towns, in our city. They can pinpoint that information down to a block. So we're able to get very detailed information. And all of this cell phone data is, you know, it's approved by the user that they can track this. So we can pick one event per year through this service, which is a huge cost savings to us to have this available. So we picked Light Night for 2023, and it shows that we had over 10,000 visitors in Grand Haven just on that day. 5,600 of them were from 5 to 8 p.m. And this is just in the district, so not even the greater city. It could have been larger. And most of them stayed for about 1.5 hours. And this is an increase over the last 3 years. Surpassing 2017. 2018 and 2019 were much higher in traffic, but we're coming off of a pandemic, so we're slowly increasing as we do go up. The most interesting thing I found was that we had 2.6 million visits from 702,000 visitors throughout the entire year just in the district. So really great information there. And then I just wanted to update on what the committees are working on. So we have 4 committees under the Main Street program. Organization helps us to kind of maintain how the organization operates. Projects that we're working on, we have a new marketing subcommittee that's creating like a quarterly marketing plan. We are working, next year we will celebrate 20 years as a Main Street organization and 50 years as a DDA. So we're working on how we can celebrate that and whether we'll have a big party, have some fun. They also help us to walk through accreditation assessments. We're working on a sponsorship plan for future fund development, mostly because there's a lot of projects that many of the committees want to work on, and we don't have the funding to do that. We would have to raise funds to do that, but also the rising cost of inflation, or if we want to have more operational, we have more operational costs. So we're working on a sponsorship plan. And then we're also working on a participation policy plan for non-district businesses. We get a lot of requests for other businesses to participate in events or opportunities that we've got going on downtown, and we want to make sure that we tell them how they can do that instead of just saying no. So our preservation in place has been especially busy this last week. And thanks to Bob's help with this for volunteering his time. We've got new holiday lighting in our planter boxes, both downtown and Centertown. And this is thanks to the generous donation by the Tribune Lofts. They're sponsoring our new holiday lighting downtown. And a grant from the Grand Haven Area Community Foundation. We spent a lot of time updating the look of the first block this summer. Bright colors and fun artwork. Pollinator pocket gardens were installed along Franklin near 4th and 5th Street to create interest for people that park, farther away from downtown. It keeps them interested and active while they're walking through town. And then we're working on new plans that we can hopefully present in the future for more seating downtown so that we can keep people interested in lingering. Wayfinding signage, bike repair stations, kiosks, sustainable plantings in the flower boxes instead of just all annuals, and then year-round ambient lighting. Our recruitment and retention committee has been obviously busy. Most of what we spent this past year on was our first block activities, which you guys got to experience this summer. Kids Night was a huge hit. All of the participants, the businesses, Wildflower Yoga, Nora, the bookseller, Haven and Maine, Must Love Dogs, who did dog training, which I failed to put up there, I apologize. But they're all looking to come back and host these events again. But it certainly created some visibility and some traffic on nights that are typically slower. And Bluey Night, if anybody knows anything about Bluey, I didn't know anything about Bluey until we had that night, but we had about 2,400 people that came to see Bluey. So, and a lot of volunteers that helped and jumped in last minute, including someone dressing up as Bluey. So, but projects that we're working on are looking to work on in 2025, more business visitation visits, because it's difficult for me to see 260 people on a monthly basis, 260 businesses. New business recruitment ideas, we do have some vacancies and we are working with some business owners. Had about an hour-long conversation with a property owner this morning to see what we can do. And a lot of this visitor data, as well as some of the market data that we've received from National Main Street will help us to, recruit some businesses to fill those vacancies. They are also working on a participation policy for non-DDA businesses. And last but not least, our promotions committee, which has been extremely busy this past season. We had sidewalk sales, which is our most successful sales weekend for retailers, more successful than any Christmas weekend or any other event during the summer. So that's important. We're happy that's successful for them. Bones About Town has been really successful. Not sure if you saw any of the winners, but Kirby House won for most original, Lakeside Eats won for funniest, and Must Love Dogs for spookiest. Chowdown Centertown had a new putt-putt event to coincide with the food trucks and music. Fall Festival was a really, my favorite part about Fall Festival is the kids' costumes. Light Night is coming up next week. We're super excited about that. There's a new event attached to Light Night. We're giving away 1,000 tote bags. Those tote bags, if you bring them back on 4 separate days next year, and you can find that information on our Facebook page, you will get special discounts or offers from participating retailers downtown. So it's to drive traffic on our slower weekends. Santa and Centertown, they are adding a Whoville element to the neighborhood, so you can come and get your picture taken and be Cindy Lou. Lou, I don't know. Wine About Winter, obviously, is one of our most successful events and our biggest fundraiser for Grand Haven Main Street, so come on out for that on January 17th. And then coming this March, we will have an author event. I'll be finding out more information about that, but it sounds like we're going to have about 200 authors that are interested in coming to Grand Haven. So I will keep you posted on how that, the details of that. But that's a quick recap of what we've been doing this past year, and feel free to ask any questions or if you have any thoughts, but we're excited to see where we go.
Well, thank you, Shandi. Any questions, comments for Shandi?
If you think about it, you only captured 700,000 or so visitors in that 3 block. Can imagine what it would be with all the people that just driving to the beach and not
Yeah.
stopping downtown. It must be incredible.
Yeah.
The number of people that come through here, so. You guys have done a great job. I know you all very well. You've worked hard. The first block, you nailed it exactly how everybody was looking. We were all looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And you did a great job with it. All the activities that you did were spectacular. I want to congratulate you all the board members, and just keep it up.
Thanks.
We'll do it again next year.
All right.
Thanks.
You're right. It's exactly what I was expecting, I thought, and then you guys, you hit it right on the head. You did a very good job of dressing it up, attracting people down there. I was down there for a lot of the events down there, I tell you. It was, the author night was fantastic. I enjoyed listening to the authors that Mike had come in there. That was really, Nora, when they had the bike night down there, they had a little course for the kids to ride their bikes, and they had their bikes tuned up. They bring their own bikes down. They had bike tune-up for them and that. It was just fantastic to see all these kids, all the parents down there, not sitting down just having a few drinks or something, but they were enjoying that whole area down there, which makes it more family orientated, and it brought it up. You did a fantastic job on it. All the events and the colors and just everything, it's really good. We just need to expand it now if we can. It'd be really nice. Thank you very much for all the hard work, and hit every expectation that I was hoping for, so you did very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you guys are on fire. You are doing just amazing, and I think it just shows when we really allow our boards and commissions to do what you're passionate about, what you can accomplish, because wow, just really well done. So not just you, Shandi, but Joyce, Chris, Laura, you guys and your entire board, you guys rock.
Thank you.
Really well done.
Again, I participate in the board, and I see the work you do, and I know it's a lot of work, and I know it's a huge job, especially since it's in the nature of downtowns as opposed to suburban malls and such, where you have all these independent entrepreneurs to deal with. They all have different opinions and different thoughts and ideas, and you got to bring them together for a common good. And I think that it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of diplomacy, it takes a lot of sharing of a vision, and I think that you're doing that really well. And you and your whole board are working well together. I think everybody sees what can be done. They're experiencing what can be done. You're making that happen. There's a lot of deliberate programming that goes into this, but that's part of the work of success. And I know that you're making good use of the resources that you have. So excellent work. Appreciate that. And truly, our downtown is in many ways the heart of the community, and not just this community, but the region is the downtown for Northwest Ottawa County. So we're making it shine and making it work well. If we have some challenges with a few vacancies, those are actually opportunities. So we'll fill those up and we'll be even stronger.
Yeah, agreed.
And Joyce has her hand up, so if she wants to come she needs to come to the podium because you can't sit back there and talk.
Joyce Workman, I own Vintage Green, but I'm the Main Street Chair, and I just want to tell you, like, this woman is amazing. Like, she really drives us, she directs us. I have learned more from her in the past year than I have in the past whatever years I've been involved. And so while I would love to say thank you, I really want to make sure that you know that she gets a lot of the credit.
Okay, so we'll keep her around.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, well, then that brings us to our first call to the audience. At this time, members of the audience may address council on any item, whether on the agenda or not. Those addressing council are asked to provide their name and address, will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time. Council will hear all comments for future consideration, but will not have a response at this time. Those not physically present who would like to call in may dial 616-935-3203. Who would like to address council?
Hi, my name's Laura Gerard. I reside at 1035 Washington here in Grand Haven. I'm also a business owner downtown. I just wanted to let you know that Light Night is this Friday from 5 to 8. It's our kickoff to the annual holidays, so we would love to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to address council?
Joyce Workman, Vintage Green. Okay, so the night that we handed out candy, we had a discussion about what was the best candy. And I would have slid this between meetings, but we didn't break. So to Mayor and Karen, I told you I'd bring you the best candy, right? So if you want to share it with your cohorts on the bench, you're welcome to do so, but I do expect feedback.
Okay,
Okay,
well, thank you.
we'll share.
If they behave themselves, they get some. Anyone else? In that case, we'll close the call to the audience. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Maria, would you please read that?
Item A, approve the bills memo in the amount of $419,483. And item B, approve the fee schedule amendments for special events as presented effective January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025.
Can I get a motion?
So moved?
Support.
Motion by Fritz, second by McLaughlin. Questions on any items here? If none, would you please call the roll?
Fritz,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. Okay, our first and only item of new business, would you please read that?
Consideration by City Council to approve the updated economic incentive policy to create a transparent internal framework for evaluation to assist in developer request for local incentives and tax abatements. Administration recommends approval.
Can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Fritz, second by Lowe. Ashley, would you like to speak to this briefly, or
Sure.
or should Emily do that?
No, I'm happy to speak to it, and then we can answer any questions jointly. But just in the way of an introduction, this document is not unfamiliar to you. Its return has been a little bit long awaited, so we're happy to be back before you with this. But the resolution wording really tells the story of what this document's intended purpose is to be. It's a really going to be a tool or a mechanism for us to evaluate potential incentive requests based on our priorities. And we went through with you through our EDC, through various work sessions to try to hash out what those priorities were and what kind of scoring criteria we'd like to see implemented in this policy. So this policy, just as a reminder, addresses and really weighs our priorities when it comes to mixed use, investment in RRC sites, historic preservation, strong pedestrian features, retention of industrial employment, year-round operation, all of those key points we wanted to hit throughout that process, while really giving that developer a little bit of a framework, and again, that transparency in how they can look to come forward with a request and how we will evaluate said request. So Shaundi, Emily, our city planner, Brian, and I have all spent many months looking at this policy and how we can make it most suitable for our community. We feel that product is before you today. When we came before you last time, the only hang-up was finding a third-party financial reviewer. Since then, we've found 2 firms who are able, and consultants who are able to complete that for us with base template pro formas and on an hourly basis that we would then look to pass on the fee to the development teams. So other than that, the content hasn't necessarily changed since your previous review.
Okay, thank you. Questions and comments? You've all seen this before and weighed in on it, but let's have
Yeah,
current
I
comments.
probably forgot what I asked. I'll ask again. The 7.5%, how did you determine the 7.5% for the total abatement?
That was a figure that we saw in a lot of other community incentive policies. So we looked to incorporate that, looked at what, I can't remember offhand what our current capacity was, but that left, especially with our taxable value increase we saw over the last year, quite a significant amount of gap for a few large projects as well as a few small projects. So it was somewhat arbitrary, but looking to set some sort of cap to provide a level of comfort to
Yeah,
the
no,
community.
That's great. I was just curious, that's all.
Yep.
Obviously, we haven't seen what the application looks like yet. Will the application require the applicant to list all potential sources of incentives?
Yes.
So that, they'll have to list, I mean, I'm just going back to the diesel plant, you know, that, you know, they kept saying, well, we have to have, you know, City of Grand Haven's commitment before we can go to the state. Now, you know, I want to know, I think we should all know
Yeah.
what the total really is. And we, as the city, should be the but for. But for us, it's not going to happen. So they should come to us. I'm only one person, but I really think it's important that we see the whole project, not just pieces of it. You know, I think it's tough for the EDC to make decisions if they don't see the whole project. So I hope that that's included as part of the application.
Yeah, and we anticipate the pro forma would help us address some of that based on what the consultants have utilized previously. But also, we did look to incentivize, again, making that state request in our matrix for evaluation here. And just as a reminder, whatever amount of years this matrix generates, that would be across all incentives. So whereas you could come for a full brownfield and a full Oprah, this you would have to essentially split or pick one or the other. So you get 14 years, you couldn't do 8 for an Oprah and
Wow, that's
even
great.
more for a TIF. So it would limit it, the request to some extent, and we would therefore have to know what the other requests might be.
Okay. One other thing.
Nice.
Your independent consultant that's going to come in and evaluate, is that independent consultant going to also participate in the discussion with the EDC? Do you see that as part of their service?
Not outside of explaining the gap analysis that they performed or the pro forma review.
Okay.
I wouldn't anticipate the conversation being greater than that.
Okay, I just know that I've sat in some EDC meetings, and a developer comes in, they hire some independent consultant to put together their application, right? Well, then that's the only representation that the city has. I mean, obviously, we have staff there, but they make that presentation, and I don't mean that, don't take this wrong, but it's kind of rubber stamped. And I just want to make sure that,
Yeah.
all this is carried through by the independent.
And that's
Okay.
where we're looking to get the template documentation from the consultant that the developers would be responsible to fill out with their information. And this consultant that's evaluating the financials provided would be working for the city.
Okay. I think that's all. I'm interested to see what the application looks like, so that'd be great. Thank you.
Karen?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the city manager for all of your work on this. Has been not just months, this has kind of been over a course of a couple of years when we started talking about wanting to have some standardization and some guidelines from a policy perspective. And so I really appreciate all your work and your team's work on coming up with this. I think this is exactly what we were looking for, and so thank you.
And I thank you for that. And it was absolutely a team effort, truly collaborative effort. And we did just, as a reminder for the public too, our partners like Housing Next and MEDC, as well as the consultants that we'd look to have do some of these third-party financial reviews, did all look at this policy, and they were all leaning very favorably towards it. So we gathered as much input as we possibly could.
Yep. Mike?
Yeah, I just want to echo what Karen says. Thank you so very much, everybody that worked on this. Going forward, it's going to be a lot easier for us to look at and evaluate situations and that for us. So thank you for all your hard work. I appreciate it a whole lot. I'm ready to move forward.
Yeah, and I agree, this is a long time coming. I know the EDC has been looking for this to be approved for some time now. It gives them clarity and guidance, and just makes it more transparent for everyone, exactly what laws are being applied, how they're being applied, how they're being measured and tested. I assume that you've tested the final result. I know you have tested the final result against some of our current projects to see how they would have shaken out. So we have a good idea of how this functions. So that piece of the kind of beta testing has been gone through. I think that's all good. I know that all the applications are different. Sometimes when there's a brownfield TIF being requested, that it's fairly straightforward. Here's your cost, here's the timeline, here's estimated revenue and all that. And sometimes they're more complicated, or there's a variety of incentives being requested. So having that third-party review will certainly be helpful to the EDC. In the past, we've had chamber representation, and we've had members of the EDC who could take a good look at it, but there's the appointment process for EDC BRA, that's not really a qualification for membership on that board is to be able to do that. So having parties we can draw on, particularly if the developers are paying for the process, which you indicated was the case, makes it all the more attractive. So I think this will be a very healthy thing. So I'm glad it's finally here.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
Would you please call the roll?
Fritz?
Yes.
Lowe?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Manetza?
Yes. All right. Report by City Council. Who would like to go first?
I'm good. Go ahead.
You are?
I'm leaving for New York tomorrow.
Karen?
I'm good.
Mike? Can't talk about the Tigers.
Well, Tigers, I'm not going to talk about Tigers.
Okay.
What about those Lions, though, huh? Come on. What a game yesterday, I tell you, it's unbelievable. If you moved away from the TV for a short time, you missed all the action, because it was go, go, go. It was just going forward. That was really good. But I just want to say thank you for everybody in this town to making it what it is today. I walk around this town, I get a chance to go out and talk to people, and I tell you, it's just fantastic to hear what they have to say to you when they walk up to you and say, hey, they know who I am. They go, hey, Mike, how you doing? Then I start talking about things. But it doesn't matter which side of town I'm on, they all have the same concerns, making sure that our town is moving forward. And I want to say thank you to my fellow council members for being able to move forward and doing what we need to do for the community. So thank you and all. And I also want to say, remember, it's Thanksgiving coming up, so wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Mike. I don't have much to add to that. I won't talk about the Lions. So, yeah, we've, it's a surprisingly busy time of year. It always is around the holidays. I mean, we think that summer is our busy time and all the tourists are here, but this is the time of year when the people of Grand Haven really come together and make a community out of it. So plenty going on. Pay attention and participate. And beyond that, I don't have much to contribute, so I'll turn it over to Ashley.
Can I just say?
Yes.
Congratulations and thank you to Maria for the elections.
Oh, yes.
We haven't
Oh, yeah.
had
By far.
it since the election day. So,
Yeah, we had about 80% total voter turnout in the city of Grand Haven.
how many?
About 80%
That's amazing.
across in-person, early voting, and absentee voting.
Wow, you don't see that.
Well, we beat the national average. Thank you, Grand Haven. Every vote counts.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to beat that news. But we do, if you haven't seen it yet, we do have our community satisfaction and budget priority survey live. We've had a fair amount of response so far, but please consider doing anything you can, and anybody listening or in the audience, to share that survey. It is on our website. We've been sharing it across social media platforms. It'll be going out in the tax bill. So trying to cover our bases and get as much participation as we can. With that said, we hope that survey will help inform our city council strategy session that we have in December. And again, with that being said, we need to set a date for that strategy session in December. So you have a meeting, obviously the first and third Monday of December. Our survey is due on December 8th. So I'm hoping we might be able to look at the week of the 9th or the 16th. You have a meeting the 16th, so that might be pushing it to the holidays, but hoping to poll the group to see what availability you might have. We could do,
Any thoughts from anyone?
I already told Ashley I'm good the whole week.
See, there's a planning commission meeting that Tuesday.
yeah, and you could do the 9th or the 12th, Monday or a Thursday.
So, yeah, I mean, the 9th is good for me, 11th, 12th,
The 9th, I can't do the 9th.
okay.
Would the 12th, Thursday?
12th is a Thursday, 11th Wednesday. The 13th, I'm donating blood, but I should be okay.
Just
think
let
the
me know,
12th
I'll show up.
The 12th should be good, and then that following week, since we have the council meeting on Monday, I'm also available the next couple days after that if it gets pushed. So if you need an alternative date,
Okay,
got some flexibility
So
there.
then if you want to lock in the 12th?
yeah, let's lead with the 12th. And we could start that at 6 PM? Seeing no objection, we will.
Don't have anything going on Main Street, do we? The 12th? There's-
No.
Just checking.
Yeah, I don't see anything on the calendar. Okay, so we will get that publicly noticed, and that will be a public meeting in which we'll, again, look to review your previous year's strategic priorities and look to set new priorities. So that'll give me appropriate amount of time to also inform you of what those survey results were. And then the only other thing I had, I think I've made you aware, but for the benefit of the general public listening, we have named our own internal Dana Colware as our assistant city manager. So that is an exciting promotion for really the entire city. And we expect that full transition will be in effect as of December 16th. We'll look to phase Dana out of the Department of Public Works, again, cautiously with all the projects we have going on. So that'll take a minute. But we are excited to have her in our office, and she'll be joining us twice a month here shortly.
And then you're
Great choice.
actively looking for someone to take her place in,
Correct, that is
DPW.
posted.
okay.
Yep, so anybody
She'll be-
who's interested
She'll
in
be a hard
it,
one to replace.
she is solid. We're excited to have her.
Well, if we could clone her,
Yeah.
get two or three of her going. Work on that,
In a
please.
perfect world.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, well, that brings us to our second call to the audience. At this time, members of the audience may address council on any item, whether on the agenda or not. Those addressing council are asked to provide their name and address will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time. Council will hear all comments for future consideration, will not have a response at this time. Those not physically present who would like to call may dial 616-935-3203. Anyone? Don't all rush up.
No phone calls?
Seeing none, we will close the second call to the audience. That brings us to adjournment. So, thank you for coming.